What was so great about WoW's maps? Let's take a look at this.
World of Warcraft. A lot of people have spent a lot of time in Azeroth. In this video, we're going to talk about one of the most important, most enduring parts of WoW, but a part that doesn't get all that much attention, the world and zone maps. WoW has some of the most unique maps out there when it comes to MMO games, and their simple style has hardly changed since they were first introduced in 2004.
Bro, whenever I see some of these like old clips, man, it's so crazy. It was like really a different world back then, man. Oh my lord.
2004. If you launched WoW back in the early days, you were treated to this introductory cinematic, where the very first thing you see is this old-timey feeling map of Azeroth.
Yeah.
You don't know it yet, but this is the world you're about to spend an awful lot of time in.
Bro, it sounds so bad when he says it like that.
So let's look at the design and creation of the maps of World of Warcraft and ask, are they awesome or awful?
Okay, let's take a look. God, I might have spent a little bit too much time with this game, to be fair, though. That might be true. That might be true. World of Warcraft. Damn.
Maps in video games essentially need to balance two things.
Yeah.
Player immersion and player convenience. A lot of times these things are in conflict. If you give the user too much convenience, they just zip from quest to quest, ignoring the world around them as they run from one part of the map to another.
Yeah.
If you don't give the user enough convenience, they can get completely lost and frustrated just trying to do simple things like find out where someone is in a city or meet up with their friends.
Some
the WoW zone
really,
maps overall are definitely on the side of immersion over precision.
Oh, it was Yakuza? Oh, the Watchdog thing was Yakuza? I haven't played either of those two games, so I couldn't even tell, guys. Okay. But that is very, very true, though. Like, but I think it's really also like a problem with people nowadays. I feel like people are very treadmilly when it comes to maps these days. Even when you have like vast areas, like in Elden Ring, like vast maps where you have so much places to explore, people will treat it like a boss rush game, right? And just do from boss to boss.
They aren't so far beyond what you could imagine your own character actually carrying with them and drawing as they go.
Yeah.
The maps are less guidelines than they are thematic representations of the zones. Each map has a different color scheme with unique little drawings and features. By looking at one of these maps, you can instantly tell what kind of zone you're in.
True.
Is it lush or dry and desert-like? Is it volcanic or farmland or somewhere a bit creepy or somewhere full of sickness? These maps line up incredibly well with their zones. Here are some examples. We have Fairlass, a land of huge trees and thick forests, full of giants and wildlife with a lush green map. We have the Barrens, a big dry plain filled with animals you'd find on a safari, and dangerous pigmen, with a yellow, dry-feeling map. There's the Plaguelands, once lush lands, now stricken by sickness and undead monstrosities, with maps tinged odd, unnatural colors.
I actually never really thought about it like that. I mean, I like the maps, but I never like paid like a lot of attention to that stuff.
And the list goes on.
It's true.
Durotar, Stranglethorn Vale, Duskwood, Tanaris.
They do really represent the themes of the zone very well, actually. Like I never really like paid a lot of attention to it.
All of these zones and their maps have a distinct feel and a distinct artistic style. And all across these maps, there are also unique little features, buildings, and geographies that push you to explore. Yet these features, the topographical layout, the size of buildings and cities, are still pretty vague if you're trying to find out exactly where you could go.
Yeah, very true.
Vanilla WoW did have an element of intentional obscurity to it, like a lot of games at the time, and you ended up having to learn these zones and read quest text in order to keep going.
True.
Ashen Vale is a good example of how this could be frustrating at times. It's full of bits and hills and apparent plateaus on the map, but you really can't just use these topographical lines as a guide for trying to get somewhere.
I guess that's why you have the minimap as well, though, right? Because the minimap does have a lot of little bumps and stuff too.
In some places you can go straight up past them, and sometimes there are gaps, but you can't get through at all.
Yeah.
Some places have fences that prevent you from moving, and other places there are caves and moonwells that aren't marked.
Oh.
These maps are generally low information. They're rough guides, telling you just enough to get you moving on your own.
I think that's good, though.
That said, one of the most common experiences in WoW is the random jumping and trying to climb up hills, because you get stuck in some weird little spot and the map
Yeah.
doesn't ever show anything in that place, or you're trying to get to some quest giver you see way up on a hill somewhere.
That's the fun part, though, man. I really think Classic WoW's map, where your little kid does an amazing job at instilling a wonderment, simplicity at the same time. I do think, in terms of maps, there should be obviously some big landmarks and stuff like that, but you shouldn't show everything, because a lot of the fun stuff and the beauty of these kind of games is definitely the sense of wonder, right? You don't want to have everything just be laid out before you. I think that's why games like Dark Souls are really cool in a way, because they don't even have maps. Right, so you kind of like gotta learn everything, but this is a video about maps, I guess.
Can be frustrating, and sometimes quest text just isn't descriptive enough. Way back in the day, a lot of times we had to turn to resources like Alakazam for this kind of thing, or ask for help in chat.
No, Thoughtbot.
So because of this kind of stuff, eventually people built quest helper add-ons to throw giant arrows in the middle of your screen and tell you where to go, or icons on the map. And eventually Blizzard gave in and added this into the base game around 2008.
Daddy, thank you for the 3
so
months.
Today, in retail WoW, the original vague and artistic map style remains, but it's augmented with tons of navigational tools. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Back to the original maps, let's talk about cities. Cities are way more detailed than the general world, and you can reliably find your way to specific places. The only big weakness is multiple floors. WoW never really shows clearly what surfaces are higher than others, for example in Orgrimmar or Thunder Bluff, so you can end up running around on top of the bluff when you're supposed to be in a cave inside it. It's a little bit annoying. In terms of the immersion though, each city map keeps the artistic hand-painted feel.
I just hate on the city, man. It's just like such a shit city, but it is true. It does change up the areas depending on the colors.
Each has their own pretty map, and the neighborhood names reek of good fantasy. The Mage Quarter, the Valley of Wisdom, the Apothecarium, the Great Forge. The labels are clear, and it's quite fun to look at these maps and then go explore.
Yeah.
Each map, despite its small weaknesses, feels unique and handmade because it is. It's not just a screenshot of the world.
Yeah.
Aside from the style, WoW also includes a revealing mechanic, where the maps are blank at first and reveal in chunks as you explore.
Yeah, but you all get an add-on though. This is cool, I do like this, and for a first-time playthrough of WoW, maybe, this is really nice to play with, but everybody just has an add-on that unveils everything though, right?
Another thing that makes the map feel like they're your own characters carried along on your adventure.
This is cool though.
This all means that you're encouraged to head to each corner of a zone to make sure the map fills out.
Not me, you guys don't use those? Okay, maybe I'm the weird one here, but I do, it is a cool thing though, but like it unveils it. That's just me. Okay, maybe I'm just a tryhard, okay? Maybe that's just me.
This is a tick on the side of fun, but it's also a little silly sometimes because you can be running around in a blank area until you just happen to find one of the spots that lets you get filled in on the map. In retail WoW today, there are achievements for exploring zones, adding a bit more reason to get all the blank spots filled in.
Yeah.
Finally, we have WoW's minimap. It's not something your character would ever be able to see, since it shows the bird's eye view, and so it does break the immersion, but it's really useful all the same. It uses a totally different set of images than the full-size map, and these images have actually been cobbled together by some users to make highly detailed Google Maps-style maps on sites like World of Mapcraft. But something like this has never been released officially by Blizzard.
Yeah.
So on sites like these, you can see something like what WoW's map would have been like, say, if it was like most modern MMOs.
But honestly, I don't like that. This looks wrong. I really like the simplicity of what the WoW map is, because this would just look wrong, and it does actually look like those like kind of like free-to-play MMOs you could like play back in the day, right?
WoW's map would have been like, say, if it was like most modern MMOs.
Yeah, this looks so messy and weird.
World, but in more detail. It's more realistic, but way less artistic.
I think that it does.
In-game, this map is just seen through the little circular lens of the minimap, which also sometimes has little icons on it to show things that you're tracking or looking for, and not much more than that.
Yeah.
The minimap serves a useful purpose, and while it still maintains a particular style, it's far less immersion device than practical tool.
Okay.
One thing that WoW didn't have was maps of instances.
Yeah.
So when you were in a dungeon, you were completely on your own with your group trying to find your way through.
I think that's kind of cool though, right? Like I don't know, you're like, especially if you're doing it for the first time, you have no idea where to go. There's no maps. You gotta see where where it leads you.
This was at times actually pretty brutal, and groups
You hate it? Do we just disagree on everything here?
definitely fell apart because
I don't
of
mind
it.
it.
This actually illustrates just how important having a general map is. You don't want total confusion, and you do need to balance convenience with the actual experience of players.
Okay. I don't
In
mind
instances like Maradon or Blackrock Depths, you could get completely and hopelessly lost.
it. Yep.
This is especially true when players are in groups, because some people are going to be getting pissed off pretty fast if someone doesn't know where they're going.
Oh yeah.
So that's how the maps work. But to understand them properly, it's good to put the development of the game and its world into context too.
Okay.
This is the first known map of Azeroth.
Dude, that's still so... We saw this in a previous video we watched a while back. Lugardi, thank you for the 2 years, man. Thank you. It's so crazy how different it would have been. Look how small Kalimdor is. And look how massive Ulduar is. Like, that is insane. And Azeroth got that big yacht booty, bro. Like, holy crap.
Painted on the wall of the Blizzard development conference room by Chris Metzen, the writer for Warcraft in 1999, it represents the first visual version of a world that would come to be lived in by so many millions of people, and would be known better than most of these people knew their own cities.
Oh, is this Asmund?
Is this? Oh. Okay. Where's that? Shit. Trying to get an idea of where I'm at here. It's like right about there? Yep, right there.
Right about there. It's like the exact spot. In vanilla, I would never fail a single one. But in retail WoW, I would probably get lost quite a lot.
So this all started as a painting and a story. WoW is, of course, part of the Warcraft franchise.
I literally wouldn't get lost. Like in vanilla WoW, I could do every single picture, no problem. Prove it? Okay, I'll prove it after this video.
This was a world that was deeply thought out by the time WoW began development in 1999. But making an MMO with wide open areas for players to explore requires a level of world building far beyond a normal single-player linear game. Also, WoW, developed simultaneously with Warcraft 3, was Blizzard's first truly 3D game, meaning that whole new art styles and interfaces had to be explored and developed. WoW was, in many ways, Blizzard's version of EverQuest, one of the first hugely popular MMO games. For a long time before EverQuest, gamers had already been participating in shared worlds, where they created stories, gathered items, and adventured together. These were called MUDs or mushes, multi-user shared hallucinations.
What?
I remember playing as a kid a totally text-based Lord of the Rings mush, where
I heard about those. We did watch... Yeah, I watched a video about this as well.
Everyone interacted with each other through text, creating a giant shared story. The maps for these places were things you had to make by hand, and nothing was graphical or visual. And EverQuest, despite being a visual game, still stuck with this system in its original release. No maps at all. You had to memorize the zones or make maps by hand and share them with each other.
Jesus.
I guess Blizzard decided this
was... It's like when you played on the PlayStation and you had to write down the cheat codes for like GTA.
Just a little too hardcore. So by creating the maps they did, which sat somewhere in between convenience and immersion, Blizzard did something fairly original. Now, it's not like this was the first game to use maps, not by a long shot, but I haven't been able to dig up clear examples of other fantasy-type games that obviously inspired the WoW style. So if you know of some, please let me know in the comments.
You cheater. You guys have all typed in cheat codes in GTA. Stop lying. Spawn a tank, turn on flying cars, turn around the gun on the tank, and then start flying with the tank. Shut up, you've all done it.
It seems like this was something special, grown out of the story, the art style, and the development direction of the WoW team. The maps therefore reflect the team's balance of immersion and art, and their desire to push players to explore and be in the world they were creating. So all in all, are vanilla WoW's maps awesome or awful?
I think they're great. I think they're very simple style, and like, you know, they really showcase what area it is. I think they're great.
Well, I think that despite some annoying moments trying to explore the world and being frustrated by the maps, they fall squarely into the awesome side of things.
Awesome!
I think if there's one glaring weakness, it's the lack of dungeon maps in the original game,
Fair enough.
but that doesn't turn it awful. The
Yeah.
maps give a bit more help than having to totally memorize zones, but still don't give everything away.
Yeah.
Overall, having a strong push to explore and find your own way in the world is, in my opinion, way better than a fully mapped out follow the arrow style map,
I agree.
which unfortunately is exactly what WoW has become in today's retail game.
Okay.
It's convenient,
That doesn't
but
mean that the map is bad. I think this is like all the objectives on the map that you see, right? All the quests and stuff.
to the point of being able to almost completely ignore the in-game world.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for doing something mindless, and that has its benefits,
Yeah.
but I think the original maps and navigation of vanilla WoW was a big part of what made this game immersive and sucked us into Azeroth so long ago.
True.
That said, I'm not advocating for a return to the original WoW maps. Those days are long gone in retail WoW today.
Yeah.
I'm
different-
just saying that these original maps and the way they worked were definitely awesome.
Yeah, true.
Today, almost all maps in video games, and MMOs, tend towards the side of convenience over immersion, modern WoW included. But in a time long ago, World of Warcraft's awesome maps gave players a chance to take a break from their own lives and enter Azeroth, a world where they could really
Cool.
explore, adventure, and always find something unexpected around the next corner.
This is a fun little video. I don't know. It just got recommended to me. It seemed pretty interesting, and this guy really likes maps. He's literally called Mapster. Yeah, awesome video. I like it. He's the Mapster, man. There it is.